Welcome to Kenya, home to easily the most stunning, but also the toughest of the 14 events which make up the World Rally Championship. Based in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, the Safari Rally's 12 stages are all run to the north in the Great Rift Valley, with a single service park at Suswa. The first 4 of those stages on the opening day saw drama follow drama, with the rough, rocky African roads taking their toll on both man and machine.
Go, go, go!
It's incredible, I can't believe it.
And that was before Petter Solberg became one of the day's 19 retirements, the Subaru going out with engine failure. The day's first casualty was the championship leader, Marcus Kronholm, who went out early on stage 1.
Suddenly the engine stopped. We don't know what the problem, probably camshaft. Just stopped.
Soon afterwards, 2 of the 3 Hyundais had also gone. Armin Schwarz with a broken alternator and Freddie Loix with clutch failure.
Yes, Phil, I'm now on the straight line, but the car is still not moving anymore.
Mitsubishi were also down to 1 car when engine failure caused Francois Delacour to retire, while Tony Gardemeister's departure was caused by ripping a wheel off the Skoda. No such problems for the Ford team. All 3 of their cars were in the top 6 at the end of the day. Carlos Sainz was 3rd, and Marco Martin was 6th on his first attempt at the Safari, but it was Colin McRae who led the team's challenge in 2nd place.
Left, through river, rocks.
We just had a good consistent run. We sort of found the pace that we were happy with and went with it.
With Kronholm out, it was another Finn, Rudolf Ampera, who headed Peugeot's campaign in 4th place, with Richard Burns down in 8th, complaining that he wasn't feeling well. As expected, the strength of the Skoda Octavia meant it was battling for points. Kenneth Eriksson was 5th at the end of the day, while one of the surprises was the pace of the Citroens making their Safari debut. Sebastian Loeb was 9th despite injuring his back on the rocks, but suspension damage couldn't stop Thomas Rockstrom from ending the day in 2nd place. But the day belonged to Tommy Mäkinen. Fastest on 2 of the 4 stages, he led by over 2 minutes at one point, but a communication mix-up on the last stage was head start day 2 just 16 seconds in front of McRae.
I'm not worried about what I've seen so far. Our car performance is it is very good. We were slowing down quite a lot on last stage.
So this is how things look going into the 2nd day. Mäkinen and McRae are locked in battle. 16 seconds is nothing on this event, while over 6 minutes cover the rest of the top 6. Rodstrom leads the rest, but just look at the gap from 1st to 12th, over 33 minutes. Day 2 is the rally's longest, 5 stages all over 73 kilometres, with the longest being stage 7, a reversal of the previous day's last test at over 106 kilometres. Early morning and stage 5, the day's first. Days 2 and 3 normally see the top 15 run in reverse order, but not the Safari, thanks to the danger of the leaders catching slower cars on the incredibly long sections. Tommy Mäkinen was therefore the first to pick his way over the rocks of stage 5, rocks which would cause problems for the rally leader. Colin McRae and his co-driver Nicky Grist were next into the stage, but little did they know the dramas which lay ahead. Their first headache was hitting a bird which broke their windscreen. Keep an eye on the right-hand side of the screen, in front of Grist.
6 left, 450. 6 left tightens, and 6 right.
Mäkinen, though, was in more serious trouble. He'd broken one of the Subaru shock absorbers and so was limping through the stage. It wouldn't be long before the Focus would catch the Impreza.
Into 6 left opens, and K keep left over past rocks.
The message from Subaru management is when you are within 200 metres, Tommy will pull over and let you pass.
Mäkinen, though, was unaware of McRae's presence. His helicopter wasn't answering his radio calls.
Does he know we're right behind him?
Yeah, we've told him. We're telling him again.
Into 6 left, 70. K jump, and fast runs. 70. 6 left over. Tell his pilot to get pull over now. 6 left over jump maybe.
We are doing.
15k. Fast bump and 6 crest. 250. Hey, get him to pull over. Steady now. K, fast hold.
Yep, it's going to get those.
That was very important of him. 300.
Yeah, I know, Colin, yeah. I've told them, I'm telling the management now.
McRae was clearly furious at Makinen's apparent refusal to pull over, but the situation would be repeated soon afterwards. This time it was Carl Sainz and Lewis Moyer in another Ford who would suffer.
We cannot see David, we cannot see.
Tommy to stop, but he's not stopping yet. You are maybe
Salta, piedra, derecha, una más, ojos, se abre. 2. Salta. 2. Izquierda rápida, ojo por izquierda, cartel, salta.
Tommy is stopping on the left. You have clear run in 200 meters.
Thank you. Rápido, ojo por izquierda, cartel.
In all, Mäkinen and Kyle Lindstrom would lose around 8 minutes thanks to the suspension problem, and so drop from first place to 6th. One of the drivers who benefited from Mäkinen's misfortune was Harry Rovanperä, who moved up to 3rd place behind Sainz. Kenneth Eriksson and Tina Turner meanwhile climbed to 4th in the Skoda.
Utstort 300. Och lyft och vatten. 40 höger fram. 80. Vänster fram till krön. 130 håll vänster.
The other driver to move up a place was Marco Martin in the 3rd of the Fords. Despite concerns over what Martin thought was a puncture, he and co-driver Michael Park were now 5th, a brilliant performance on only their first ever Safari Rally, remember. The two Citroën Zaras suffered mixed fortunes. The team mechanics had been awake all night rebuilding broken suspension units. Thomas Rodstrom's suspension setup though was a little too hard, and he was only 8th fastest on the stage, over 26 seconds slower than the Peugeot of Richard Burns,
Right
6th
max
quickest.
long, 40, slight left over crest, okay, 200, slight left to left max over crest, to left max 80, slight left 70, right max to right max 80, left max.
But it was the other Citroën, driven by Sebastian Loeb, which was fastest on the stage, the team's first Safari stage win, and one which must have delighted the mechanics after their sleepless night. The prize for the strangest problem on the stage, though, must go to Alistair McRae and David Senior. Listen carefully, and you'll realise that their problem is fluid-related, that it's nothing to do with the car.
29, 16.
Push for the oil. Can I get out of the control?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Everything okay?
Once they're clear of the control, Alistair can release the fluid pressure, while David reassures the team that it's nothing they can help with.
Yeah, fine, Glenn. See the problem. Alistair's desperate for a pee.
We had, for half of the stage, I thought we had a puncture, but it's not, so there was some handling difficulties. In the left-handers it went just sideways all the time, so we're going to try it fast in the left-handers, but otherwise no problems.
Any problems?
Oh, we drive carefully, everything when it's rough, 2 gears under the possible, so we try to conserve the shock absorber.
So the leaderboard looked very different after stage 5. McRae, Sainz, Rovanperä, Eriksson and Martin all moved past Mäkinen thanks to his suspension failure, while Loeb's stage win meant that he took over 1 minute and 15 seconds off the man ahead of him, Richard Burns. One of the reasons for that fastest time was this. A similar move by Colin McRae on day 1 didn't work as well, but as you can see from the virtual spectator, Loeb uses the detour to superb effect.
Theoretically, we have 2 solutions at this point, and we decided to try the 2 solutions, and for me it was the best one was at the left.
About 57 kilometers, and there is 2 choices, and we make the notes in the right side But today morning when coming into this place and we changed the mind.
Because at the left you have to be very slow at the beginning because it's very rough, but after that it's fast, and on the other side you have a lot of jumps and slow corner, and I prefer to go at the left.
Of course that is big risk, and in Safari is maybe not best thing doing, but sometimes you need to take the risk because you take the risk all the time in this rally.
At service at Suswa, it was Mäkinen's reluctance to pull over that was troubling the new leader.
Colin, you now have a 2-minute lead. What happened out there on the stage?
We passed Tommy, but we were unfortunately stuck in his dust for a long time. And then when we did manage to get right on his tail, he wouldn't move over either, so it wasn't very sporting of him.
A 4-time World Rally Champion should perhaps know a bit better.
Well, I think him and the team should get the situation sorted. Everybody sort of, there's a gentleman's agreement that if the car has a problem, you will pull over and let the faster car pass, and that was the case, and they didn't do it.
But Mäkinen wasn't proud of what had happened.
I'm very sorry. We have no information at all. I was angry when you passed. I said, ask what the hell you do, why you didn't inform. We had no information at all that you are behind. I'm very sorry that. And it was also very dangerous place. Of course I could pull out straight away. It was not my target to try to keep you behind. Sorry that.
Okay, there's no information then.
It was really, we have something wrong with our radio. I'm sorry, very sorry about that. Okay.
The whole situation was communicated. Ford contacted us. We reviewed the situation. We immediately got our helicopter to track where Colin was. We reached a damp section at that point. Now the whole thing, it's just one of these things. Look, I expect drivers to get hot under the collar. You know, if they're not determined individuals, they wouldn't be rallying.
Elsewhere, away from the simmering row, Richard Burns Mechanics had a new rear screen waiting for his 206. At Citroën there was delight at Loeb's performance, even if the mechanics did seem a little tired.
You must be very pleased that your mechanics stayed up all night to fix the suspension. That's dedication.
Yes, I think they work very hard all the night, and now it seems to go, but it was a stage not too rough. We'll see in the next stages if it's now okay or not.
But the next stage, the rally's 6th, would be cancelled as low cloud had grounded all the spotter helicopters, making it impossible to run the stage safely. The crews then headed back to service, where those helicopters were waiting for them.
So confirm all the helicopters are grounded, is that correct? Everybody's helicopter, including the other competitors?
Every helicopter's on the ground now except the army helicopter. There was a few guest helicopters took off and then they got called back as well.
In Kenya, this is one rally out of 14. It's very special. One thing, the roads are open, where of course we're going to get a lot of problem with animals. That's where one of these come in handy. We actually have a helicopter with us through all the competitive sections, where we have a spotter in the aircraft, which is looking out for not just cars and trucks moving in the same direction, or with us on the event, people walking in the road, but also wild animals.
Donkey in the middle of the road round the corner.
Okay. 70. 6 right, 200.
Of course, you know, we're basically the guys who are in the zoo, and these guys are at home. I mean, they can run across in front of us at any time, and that's where the helicopter really comes into play.
Stage 7, at 106 kilometres, the longest of the day, but at least the helicopters were flying again. Mäkinen, though, must have wished that this stage too had been cancelled. 25 kilometres from the end of the stage, his bad luck returns.
Jamasen täystielle. 300.
After the rear suspension breakage on stage 5, this time it's the turn of a puncture to cost time. Mäkinen and Lindstrom were quickly out of the car to change the wheel, but over 3 minutes would be lost. Surely any chance of victory had now gone. Colin McRae was second fastest, extending his lead to nearly 3.5 minutes, but expressing concern to Nicky Grist that the spectators are standing in some dangerous places as the pair near the stage finish.
56 left over bridge, 200, 6 right, 350 over finish. Okay.
Hold on, everything okay?
Yeah, no problems.
Their teammates, however, wouldn't have a trouble-free run. Sainz and Moya suffered a puncture, and so it was once again time to get out the tools and change the tyre.
No sé si hemos pinchado en dos ruedas, ¿eh? Venga, dame las cosas, dámelas.
The focus was soon on its way again, but it was Mäkkinen's misfortune which slowed Harry Rovanperä, whose Peugeot caught the Impreza. Once we go on board, you can see why the drivers hate catching another car, and why it's so important for the slower car to pull over.
Sillä puolella, ei näe mitään, pyö pois se siitä. Pyö pois sieltä. Pyö pois.
Marco Martin and Michael Clark were fourth fastest, taking nearly a minute off the pair in front, Kenneth Eriksson and Tina Turner.
250, flat left ruts. 250, care crest ruts, 4 right into dip 1.
It was Richard Burns and Robert Reed who set the quickest time, their first stage win, although the pair was still 8th. Over 2.5 minutes slower than the Peugeot was the Mitsubishi of Alistair McRae and David Senior, whose main problem was the fact that the local wildlife wanted a closer look at the action.
Flat right over 4 bumps, 120, care.
So after stage 7, McRae still led, but it was now Rovanperä in second place thanks to Sainz's puncture, while Eriksson, Martin and Mäkinen held on to their places. Burns' stage win hadn't helped him move up the order, but an incident right outside the service park would.
Any problems in there, Kenneth? I had a puncture the last 10 kilometers, you know, so I had a lot of vibration, but it was okay. I slowed down, but no problem.
Eriksson clearly wasn't aware that he did have a problem, but the trail of transmission oil was hard to ignore. Complete transmission failure quickly followed, leaving Kenneth and Tina to try and fix it themselves, despite the fact that they were only a few hundred frustrating meters from their mechanics. In the end, the team decided enough was enough, and their brave battle was over.
Stage win. What went right on that section?
As I don't know what went wrong on all the others. I just didn't really lift off for any of the rough parts except the very, very worst. One place we missed our braking and very nearly finished the rally there, so it is a risk to go that speed.
Stage 8 was a reversal of the rally's second test, but turning the stage around transformed it into a car breaker. Mäkinen set off into the stage over 2.25 minutes behind the man in 5th place, Marco Martin, and all appeared to be going well. Around halfway through the stage, however, Mäkinen's rally comes to a grinding halt.
Mitä tapahtuu?
Okei, me tullaan takaisin katsomaan.
Front suspension failure and retirement number 6 from 8 rallies.
No warning at all, suddenly lower wishbone from front left just broke down, snap, and we couldn't do anything. We don't have that wishbone here, we cannot change it.
Does this retirement means the end of your championship, Tommy?
Yeah, it looked very bad. It was not a good day for us.
Carlos Sainz took to the grass to look for a smoother track and so avoid the chance of a similar fate. Stage 8, though, was determined to claim a few more victims. Listen carefully for Carlos giving Lewis the bad news.
Oil pressure, Luis.
Okay, finished now, finished.
Indeed, they were finished, joining Mackinnon, Gronholm and the others on the retirement list. To Ford's relief, neither Colin McRae nor Marco Martin reported any similar engine problems, but the mechanics would check the cars very carefully at the next service.
6 left over Jim Lee, he tightens the 5 plus through rocks.
Clearly, McRae didn't fancy the sound of those rocks, and so took to the grass once again. Only 6th fastest, it seemed the Scot had decided to back off to look after the car. Rovanperä was over 30 seconds quicker than McRae, but the gap between the pair was still nearly 20 minutes. After his fastest time on the previous stage, Richard Burns once again attacked. Ericsson, Mackinnon and Slicks going out meant that he was now 5th and in the points for the first time, but he broke the car's front suspension just 500 metres from the end of the stage. It was then left to Gilles Venezzi, supposedly an asphalt specialist, to set the fastest time, although he was still outside the top 6. But like Ericsson, Richard Burns would still have to negotiate the thick dust into the service park with a broken transmission.
JC, we're stuck at the service.
There's a rally car.
It's completely on its bottom, and all the wheels are spinning.
For François, you can go reverse. Maybe it's easier reverse.
I think we haven't tried that. Come here and give us some suggestions. Come here. We're just 100 meters from you. Okay, we tried to put some advertising banners under the wheels. Francois, it's finished. Please, can somebody come?
Okay, no problem, Robert. Somebody is coming to take you with Cat, no problem.
Gilles, you must be delighted about your first ever scratch time on gravel.
Fantastic. Very good luck. For me, it was 80 kilometers extraordinary because it's not very Africa in this stage. It's like Finland sometimes. A lot of jump, very fast, the road, always full attack and fantastic.
Stage 9 was a repeat of the day's first, but what dramas would this test bring? To Colin McRae's relief, he and Nicky Grist had no problems. 4th quickest, they were letting the man behind them take all the risks.
And right, and 3 left minus, into 4 right, into 3 right plus 2 bump, and 4 left over bumps.
That man was Harry Rovanperä. 30 seconds quicker than McRae, the gap from 1st to 2nd was narrowing, but only 3 stages remain tomorrow. Is it too late?
Oikea laita. Vähän. Vasen oikea täys.
6th fastest, Marco Martin was happy enough. He was 3rd after the stage, and so it looked as though a podium finish was possible in his first ever safari. Engine problems, though, would mean he'd pick up a 4-minute time penalty at the day's last service halt, and so drop to 4th behind Thomas Rodstrom. Also making his safari debut is Sebastian Loeb, but another fastest stage time meant he too was a happy man. With Rodstrom now 3rd and Loeb 5th, Citroën must be delighted tonight. Colin McRae takes a lead of nearly 2.5 minutes into the final day, with the rest of the top 6 places well spread out. As we've seen today, though, anything can happen on the safari. Skoda's Roman Cresta will be hoping for some kind of problems to hit the others tomorrow to allow him to score his first championship point.
Never knows what happened tomorrow. Maybe every car is not so finished.
It really depends on Harry. He's been pushing very hard in the last few stages, so we'll wait and see. Our pace is good at the moment, you know, with the cars in good condition, so if we try and alter it, that's when we're going to have problems.
Who'd have thought it? So many stories, so many retirements, so many amazing scenes, and we've still got another day to go. Join us tomorrow to see if Colin McRae can take his 2nd win of the year, and to find out who else will fall victim to the Kenyan bush. But from Nairobi, good night.